Hello, everyone, and welcome to the MR Podcast. I am your host and the founder of Mentorship Revolution. The MR Podcast is available on all mainstream radio platforms. Don't miss subscribing to our podcast and connecting with us on platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Do you ever think about how the world needs more people with a mentor mentality? People from every kind and background that are willing to care unselfishly about other people, support people, teach people, and serve people in our communities. Well, the truth is, as human beings, we all have a potential and purpose that matters. That potential and purpose extends to our relationships with other human beings. As the founder of Mentorship Revolution, I believe that being a mentor is not just a career, but in actuality, it is a person that is willing to make intentional choices, intentional sacrifices, and contribute to the world and environment through intentional actions and living. Once we learn as human beings to nurture and encourage the purpose we have as we have as individuals, we begin to understand that we can do the same for others. This is mentorship. Today's guest, we have the founder of MelaninCommerce, her son who will be representing her, but nevertheless, Amina is the founder of MelaninCommerce. She is dedicated to philanthropy work and she is a self described humanitarian. Brandon, you can introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Brandon. I work with MelaninCommerce. I do a lot of PR work for the newly established company. I am part-time. I am a live streamer, and I take a lot of interest in political advocacy and issues within the Black community. So thank you for having me here, Anna. It's a fantastic experience I think we're gonna have.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for being on the podcast today, Brandon. And I think today is going to be an interesting podcast because I actually think I have not discussed this on my platform before. In particular, Black businesses, even though I have always made it well known that I am a Black business owner, a female Black business owner. Mentorship Revolution was founded by me in 2018. So today we're going to be speaking on melanin commerce, but alongside that, we want to discuss the power and the investment in Black businesses that is extremely important in today's moving forward. It's always been important, and for centuries it's been very important. But we're actually seeing a whole new wave coming through, so that's a very good thing. So, Brandon, tell us when Melanin Commerce was founded. What year? What inspired it? And how does it look today, as far as you know?
So, Melanin Commerce was founded about a year ago, but I would say in May of 2020. However, we've been working on the groundworks of Melanin Commerce for quite some time now. It came about from the idea. Did you want to hear about about how we came up with the idea? So it came about from the idea of maybe deconstructing the collective mindset of the Black community. We believe that the collective mindset is one that is missing in the Black community,
Okay.
specifically when it comes to businesses, right? Who
Okay.
we support. So, yes.
Right. Yeah, that's something that we need to discuss because
Mhm.
I do believe so. I mean, it's kind of like you see it on social media, like Facebook and stuff. But I would say from my experience, there is less of a collective mindset, and I feel like even if you go back to like older generations, it's still something new for them as far as entrepreneurship isn't something that is as established within our communities as it can be. But I think that what happens is it's a new mentality, and it's a mentality that needs to be developed more so within our community. And So the collective mindset, describe it to our audience and what that means as far as Black businesses and the issue more so that you see in our community.
So, the collective mindset is something that has been lacking within the Black community. See, a long time ago, basically, the road to success for many Black business owners and individuals was pitched to the Black community by means of claiming that the road to success is rugged individualism, which is pretty much in maybe short terms. I got mines. Why should I care about anybody else?
Okay.
And it's a big issue because what that necessarily does is that it ignores the historical impact that the African Americans and Black people have gone through for such a long time. Our rugged individualism is not on par with the rugged individualism of, say, many other cultures and like in other races, right? We've had a completely different way that set us back. So basically, what a lot of people have been interested now with the rise of other policies that say buy into this collective nature of, say, pretty much anyone, but specifically Black people, is that
Right.
we have to work together, we must support each other, um, and um, and basically through our collective growth, we bolster our communities, we help each other, we rise as a culture. um, but the one thing that a lot of skeptics look upon this idea is basically, well, why should I support Black businesses? What are they going to do for me? And the point of Melanin Commerce was not really just to list Black businesses. You know, we have directories for that. Basically, what we are trying to do is say that you invest in us, you invest in Black businesses, we get back to these communities things that, say, the government won't do for these back and forth. When we talk about, say, like reparations, or we talk about, oh, should we fund these communities? I think that, we have to take things into our own hands. Um, we have to use or build upon our newly established collective mindset and band together to take action in our communities, as we
Mm.
can't await on someone else to do that for us.
Right. So, I mean, on the subject of melanin commerce, how do you feel like when you and your mother was like behind the idea of melanin commerce, do you feel that there was a lane that was well, like a lot of open space for melanin commerce, as far as like there needs to be more um ideas such as this that allow collaboration and collaboration and unity of Black businesses? Because as you spoke about with the rugged individualism?
Yeah, rugged individualism. Yeah, like a single
Yeah,
person mindset.
right. With the rugged individualism, that's very easy because, like you said, it's the attitude of worry about myself and worry about my family. And even though I'm Black, the other Black people will figure out their situation as well. You know, it's very easy to have that attitude, and I do see that unfortunately in our community. But I was going to say that did you see that an open lane for melanin commerce? Because in my opinion, it will be an open lane because I see a lot of individual Black businesses. I don't see many. I do see more Black businesses coming together now, like webinars and different speaking out and different ways of collaboration. But did you all feel there was plenty of open space, like melanin commerce was really needed?
Yeah, I think melanin commerce is absolutely needed. Like, sure, we have Black businesses, we have, like, Black businesses sponsoring other Black businesses and helping them out, right? But
Right.
what it really comes down to is the very, very hard question by every consumer that, buys into the business or buys a product is, well, why should I support you? Is it just because you're Black? All skin folk ain't kinfolk. Like, we know that one, right?
Okay.
Basically, it's how do we give back to our communities? Right. I think with Melanin Commerce is that, I want to gather, or we want to gather other Black businesses um to, like, do more, show their community that they care, that you should support us because we have your best interest. That's the key thing. And I think that there's absolutely a lane for it, because I don't think that there's anything that is like Melanin Commerce or as unique as it as it is. Like, say, like,
Yeah.
things like mutual aid, those are great, but I think that there is a clear path, and this hasn't been done on the scale that we want to be done. So Absolutely.
Yes, and this is a really new business, which is the greater thing is being able to watch it develop. And
Mhm.
actually, I've been working with Amina. We've known each other for probably a little bit more than a month now, so it's actually been
Nice.
good to be able to discuss with her about how melanin commerce is coming into effect and seeing the vision of it unfold because that was the exciting thing for me. But the difference from my experience is I've been a sole proprietorship. So, like, I've done all the groundwork and I've just done it all by myself. So, it's very good when you see businesses like coming to fruition and all of that and Black businesses. But I was also going to say, so speaking of melanin commerce, challenges. I mean, there's challenges in Black businesses that we face, but what particular challenges did you all like when you sat down and discussed the idea? What were some particular challenges you predicted that could come along with forming a business such as Melanin Commerce?
Well, there's a lot of different challenges. I think the biggest challenge is overcoming the stigma that supporting Black business is only for one's self-interest, right?
Mhm.
I feel like the broader Black community, especially when they've dealt with maybe independent businesses or say had bad experiences, see it as there's really no benefit to them. Another thing is pretty much advertising, like our demographics, like how do we pitch these ideas to people who have been indoctrinated for such a long time, like since they were children, that they should
Okay.
only worry about themselves. See, the collective mindset is very, very new, and we have to normalize it. We have to let people know that there is camaraderie in supporting Black businesses, and these Black business owners, they work hard, you know. But as far as that, I think most of it is on a social aspect, also reaching out to Black businesses, because as this is a new and fantastic idea, they want proof that this stuff works. And so we've been creating a lot of different sample sizes, doing some testing, getting some new people on board to the website. In my suit, I would go around and speak to these owners, see what they want, and we have to
Yeah.
figure out, like, are you eligible, like, do you share our vision?
Right.
So those are pretty much the core challenges outside of logistics, etc. I think it's overcoming the stigma and showing people the complexities within businesses, and also educating people on what Black business owners go through and why you should support them.
Right. Absolutely. Um, so how has the reaction been as far as the business, other business minded people that you've spoken to? Were they receptive, like easily receptive? Like the way that I felt was there's plenty of room for melanin commerce. And, as long as I'm able to see what's laid out, to be able to see it for myself and make judgment of, what melanin commerce is trying to do. But do you think that most people are going to be easily receptive, like other business owners, or how do you feel that reception has been and how has that affected you all being able to move forward as far as because see the difference between this business and many other like mine is not in is looking for the collaboration of other businesses. So it's not like a business that exists within its own. It's you're kind of trying to form like a community more so of Black businesses versus just like you said the rugged individualism. So how has the receptiveness been as far as being able to move forward with your vision of melanin commerce?
Well, the reception has been pretty well. There's been a lot of people who, once pitch the vision, they go, "Oh yeah, I can agree with that. I think that's actually great." Because a lot of these Black business owners, they do have an ethical stance, or say, a moral obligation to serving their community,
Yes.
especially if they've grown up in those communities that are impoverished, et cetera, et cetera. So they already have close ties. So I don't have to explain it to them as I would explain to, like, say, like a non-Black business that doesn't live in these neighborhoods, or like say
Okay.
have a connection. So
Mm-hmm.
but the thing here is, um the one thing that I have noticed is that, again, skepticism is going to be mixed in with the reception that we
Most
get,
definitely.
right? Like, is
Yeah.
this legit? Is this going to be a scam? Is this and that? And you have to start with education first. We can't jump on, like, pitching these grand ideas without explaining that there's reasons why people believe things, and we have to kind of re-educate people to understand that, hey, what's happening now isn't really working for the Black community. What we
Okay.
need is more. And how it's made us feel basically is motivated. Seeing people who were once were skeptical, or say was once were like, well, you know, throughout in my community there wasn't much camaraderie, there wasn't much, like of a family or a team, collective. But in and then they hear our pitch, they see what we're doing, and then they almost flip instantaneously. They're like, wow, I'm so excited, I can't wait to be on board. We have like a list of people who want to be like the first front runners of our site, and to push our ideals. And I don't even think it's going to be anywhere near discouraging. I think it just goes to show that when you have great ideas, all you really have to do is find effective ways to prove that these ideas are correct, and
Hmm.
empathize with the people that you speak to. So I don't always shut down criticism. I don't always shut down people's skepticism. I build on it. And that's what we plan to do: build on what we have, and connect our values with the people in these communities. If that answers the question, if I missed anything.
Right. Okay. Yes, that sounds good. Definitely. The education part, when you're forming any kind of business, you should be able to give sound reason for everything that's happening. Um, I was also gonna, I guess we can move into the subject of, um, so when you see Black businesses now, because Melanin Commerce is focused on building upon Black businesses. So when you look at Black businesses now, what do you see as far as like in the 21st century? Because Black businesses have been around for a very long time. Our grandparents, great grandparents, some of them were business owners as well. So what makes Black businesses different now in the 21st century? I mean, we talked about the challenges, but maybe we can elaborate more on that. But what opportunities are more available to our generation that probably wasn't given to the prior generation? And how can our unity even exacerbate that, if that makes sense, as far as the opportunities and you know, there may be more privilege. I don't know how you would say it, but as far as like Black businesses, what do you see as far as our landscape now, and how um, do you feel that there's more opportunities for us now as far as the growth of Black businesses than before?
So, Black businesses now, these are people that are trying to survive, make a name for themselves, and also compete with massive titans of competitors. Like, think about like a
Mm-hmm.
Black grocery store owner, in the heart of New York City. The Targets, or if you're in Long Island in like a suburb, the Walmarts that they have to compete against, it's
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous, and it is completely unfair. Granted that the majority of Black Americans throughout history have not had chances to generate generational wealth. And that sets them behind the eight ball a little bit. Not everyone, but I think a very significant part. And basically, they're not normalized, right, to be supportive. The Targets, the bigger name stores, or like the fancier stores in the area who have the more modern infrastructure, they
Right.
are normalized. And so we plan to normalize the support of Black businesses, because they have a different circumstances than many other people. I think that when we see Black businesses, their concern is first and foremost staying in business.
Right.
That's the
Oh
one thing,
yeah.
and they want more people to take interest in their products, because they would like to have enough money to make better trade deals, to bring prices down, to help the community. But the problem is they can't compete right now because the other competitors have a jump on them already. That's why you see so many mom and pop shops be closing down in the neighborhoods, being replaced by other stores, and it's not fair to them. And I think that's why we all have like this deep care for Black businesses. And yeah, I just think that more attention needs to be shifted in their direction. These are, family people, people who are working hard, hustling. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that they should stay on that level of thinking, which is survival. I think that they should be elevated to social awareness, which
Yeah.
is first we have to bring them the audience. After we bring them the audience, we bring them the no, I'm sorry. You have to bring them the customer base. Once we bring them the customer base, then we use our gigantic presence to spread influence globally. Show that it
Right.
works here, and then we show it that it works everywhere.
Yes. That was great said. That was greatly said. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. So you had mentioned a jump. So like, why do you feel like, and when you say others, do you mean like other races as far as their businesses,
I mean, just like everyone,
non-black businesses?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Non-black businesses, yes.
So why do you feel they have a jump? I guess that's kind of important in educating other people is why do they have a jump? Is it because they're non-black, or
Mhm.
what's really the jump that other maybe Caucasian, Asian, what's really the jump that they have that we don't have within our community as far as businesses?
Well, that jump pretty much runs back historically, right? When I talk about like say like generational wealth, opportunities, like a better preference when it comes to say like bank loans or say like business loans,
Right,
it is a lot harder for people of color or like specifically black people to obtain these things. It is only in recent years where we are now able to establish ourselves and gain a footing in creating businesses, etc. That is important to understand and to tell a lot of people. Like you were absolutely right. You have to educate the customer base to understand there are reasons why black businesses aren't really normalized. We may get like an article in like a magazine or something like that, right? But as far as like in mainstream coverage, right? Like we want
right,
material change. We want actual promotion consistently, not just for Black History Month, not just for Juneteenth. We
right.
want this across the board. And so that's why it's like when I explain the jump specifically, I talk about the historical impacts that have massively disenfranchised Black people throughout history, and therefore they were not allowed the same opportunities and time frame that many other people who are non-Black have been awarded. Now that's on a larger scale, not per capita, but I think it is important to note so that people understand why we call to support Black businesses.
Okay, okay. So, as far as black businesses and the topic of understanding black businesses and supporting black businesses, why do you think that? Okay, so supporting each other. So maybe So, Brandon, my question for you is, other than Melanin Commerce, do you have any experience with like trying to run your own engine or like black business, like running your own business besides Melanin Commerce? Like, do you have any experience on that? Because that can help us carry on the conversation of what I was going to go into next. So,
Oh, yeah. I've been a proprietor for many other businesses. Currently, I've shifted my focus to more political advocacy, so I do run my stream as a business.
okay,
But um, I guess if the question kind of gears into, have you had experience like as a business owner? I would say yes. It is a very, very tough job. I've done things sort of like I've done to drop like I pretty much did like sales a lot. Um
okay,
and basically it was a lot keeping track of inventory, maintaining good PR,
mm-hmm.
interacting with your customer base, paying attention to your logistics, like many other different factors. It's very tough, I would definitely say so. Yeah.
And I think it's tough because to just say it to be very like I guess you would say straightforward. From my experience, I'm a female, so I guess you would say I have a double-edged sword because I'm a female and I'm black,
Yes.
definitely. So I've seen it through my experience. 2021 has been the year that my business has accelerated on mentorship revolution, most particularly my virtual tutoring platform. And I've seen how the engagement. I've actually been fortunate to have a diverse audience as far as like my students. You know, they are diverse. So, but of course, I work with other Black students as well. And I was going to say, like, sometimes the way we treat each other in business, you know,
Mhm.
if we're really going to develop on this thinking, how do we build the respect and the positivity that we exhibit towards each other? Because I feel like even though it may seem like isolated incidents, it actually has created the climate that we have of probably why we're behind a little bit, you know, if we want to move forward. But I feel like sometimes we doubt each other, like as far as credibility or as far as the results we can produce. And that may be the perception in media that has been created about us. But I think, how do you deal with that as far as like you know, within Black businesses? How do we build trust? Maybe that's what I'm saying. How do we build trust within our Black businesses?
Well, building trust, or maybe so like avoiding like infighting would be specifically um a case of re-education,
Okay.
empathy, and unconditional support. See, the biggest thing when it comes to the Black community and its respect to Black businesses, like there's this common joke, like, hey, well, why would I go buy your hoodie that costs $68 at your Black business when I can go to Target and buy it for 20? Well, I mean, don't you think there is a reason why those price differences are so large? Well, maybe there is a negotiation power on one side. You see this a lot if you're a business student, like you understand how this kind of works, which is
Okay.
many people have negotiation power to get a cheaper supplier and mass produce product than other people do. The issue is, if we don't support Black businesses, how can they ever assess the capital or gain the capital to eventually bring their prices down to where it is most affordable to many other people? Now, that's just one instance. When it comes to just respecting Black businesses, as say a means of just like, you want to supportive. To build trust, we have to have transparency. We have to like let people know like the things that we go through, like what our intentions are, and have more mission statements behind our businesses. There's one thing that I don't see a lot of Black businesses do. They emphasize that, or like say, they highlight that, hey, I'm a Black business, support me. But while other businesses go, we have deep care within the community because it attaches to our
Yeah.
values, and we do this and that. We don't do that, and that's what I focus so much on Melanin Commerce's mission statement, our core objectives, because when I explain this to people, they get attached to it. And that's what I
Right.
think every Black business should do to build trust in the community.
Okay. Um, as well, I think so. Moving forward, let's discuss maybe so with Black businesses,
Oh, hello. Oh,
yes. Oh,
sorry.
sorry about that.
No, I'm sorry. I thought that you froze. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Take them.
Okay. So yeah, carrying the conversation forward because I'm really in deep thought regarding Black businesses because I do feel like it's a conversation that, you know, maybe we don't have enough. So sometimes it's like it's deep thought. It's
Oh
leading me
yeah.
into deep thought. But I wanted to say that well, maybe the conversation of like education on financial matters. Do you feel like, how does that deal with Black businesses moving forward?
Yeah, so the education on financial managers, I don't think a lot of people even understand like how these businesses work, right? Like how they
Yeah.
determine price, like like how even profit is made in some cases. Well, I think most people know, but when it comes to business, people just assume that like the price that they pay is like way over the price that it takes to make that said product or to provide that said service.
Right.
Um, there is a lack of financial literacy when it comes to our communities. One, because a lot of schools don't even teach it. I see it being taught in many other schools, but many people, well, don't even get the opportunity to even go to college because they're busy paying bills, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so, like, that's why many people are even becoming more educated by just going online,
Yeah.
talking with their local business owner, like seeing like how the things work. And I think, again, with transparency, that's the only way we're gonna learn. There's no possible way that say like say black people or say black business owners are going to understand what these businesses go through if they don't even understand the core concepts of how businesses work outside of selling something for a profit. There's other external, there's like fixed and variable costs that have to be factored in when you're running a business, and sometimes those can be extremely high, and that's why it's that we have to support them so they can even get better.
Right. And do you think that often, like, we're intimidated by Black businesses? I
I th-
think I'm going to tell
but
you from my experience and from my background, I do think that many people, like, probably I was probably like, it probably wasn't expected that I would become a young business owner. And I think that, like, I think that leads to people not supporting you when maybe they're intimidated by the fact that you have a business. And I know that this is me being like very clear on it. Like, I'm not playing with words. I'm just simply saying that, we are often intimidated by other Black business owners. As far as, like, I don't know if it's because, like you said, it's when you're used to like supporting other businesses, or used to not really seeing your people as the face of a brand or a business. Maybe it can be kind of intimidating to know that someone else has actually came forward and created this entire lane of their own, with their own intelligence, creativity. So, like, how do you deal with that when you're dealing with people that may be intimidated by your Black business? um I do think transparency and being very, like, you know um like you said, like, maybe building upon the advocacy and having a mission statement. But how do you deal with the intimidation of Black businesses, and you know how they can be, and even in more particular for young business owners like myself? Like, I'm 21, so I guess me being so young, me being Black, and me being a female, how do you deal with the intimidation of Black businesses?
So is this in regards of like say like all people or just specifically within the black community? Because these are like two answers, or maybe
um
both.
I'm gonna honestly say in general it's faced in all, like, all, not just Black people.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, yeah, this is actually very interesting then. So when there's really no stopping like say intimidation or like say jealousy, right? Like think stuff like that, will just come out. But we can't solely like look at that situation like through that lens, right? Because
Okay.
a lot of people like when they see like someone become successful, right, the first thing that they do, they don't go, oh yay, like very rare exception, some people do when they have their own things going on. But if they have like very very like nothing going on, right, they're going
Right.
to relate what you are doing, the slight advantage or what they perceive to be an advantage over themselves. They're going to relate that to their own experiences, and therefore
Yeah.
that's going to be a determinant of whether or not they consider you to be like an average person or like hardworking. And
Hmm.
it is unfortunate because there's a clear divide. Like people think that or it's this internal thought of well, why, I don't have that.
How
That
did they
really
do it?
sucks.
Right. How did
Right,
they
right,
do it and
right.
I didn't do it?
They're
Exactly.
curious, right? Like they're curious. And most of the time, if you talk to these people and you show them like your human side, they often go, all right, well, cool. I can support you, because they just want to feel like they're a part of a team, or like, or like they have a stake in it. And that's the purpose of Melanin Commerce in the first place. I want the community to feel connected to these businesses and know them. But in general, on a broader sense too, especially if you're Black, if you're female, pretty much, like there is an intimidation factor, especially when it comes to the successes of Black people. And you can already tell from an individual standpoint, like when you have a black businesses that actually becomes a competitor in their community, that is huge. I don't even think there's even an answer to that. I just think that that will just come out naturally because throughout history, black people have been seen as the underclass, right? Like, how can
Okay.
they even reach up or rise to the level of a giant
Right.
competitor?
Mm-hmm.
And also when it comes to like being a woman, when it comes to outside of that too, that's
Women are
even
underclass either. Right.
right. That's even double bad in that sense, because
Mm-hmm.
now it's like, as a woman, you're not even supposed to like be in this position, and you're black. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's confusing to most. But I don't think that issue can be faced with transparency. I think that issue can be solved with normalization. So long as we are seen as the other, or like the other kind of business, or the special kind of business,
Right.
there will always be that intimidation factor. But if we are normalizing our communities broadly, then there's really no conversation now, is there? What is to be intimidated about? They're everywhere. So I think that's my solution.
Yeah. I think honestly though we have a lot of work to do because I see minds like ourselves and we're forward thinking and we believe in building upon like we see the importance of black people being educated, black people being able to create their own businesses and that kind of wealth and just being able to come out of what has been the normal, like the normalcy that's been established for us as far as working for other people. But I do think we have a lot of work to do. And part of it probably is survival mode. When you're living in survival mode, which I know me, we all know people that live in survival mode. But when you're living in survival mode, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like many of us do. And I would ask you to give us a percentage, but I mean, I guess that would be hard, but
Oh yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, I guess as well like when you're a black business, the good thing is I think for me social media has actually connected me with so many other black businesses. Otherwise, I would kind of feel alone maybe, but I do think social
Hmm.
media has been able to be a connector for us all. And yeah, I feel like yeah, I feel like when it comes to black businesses that is the case. And trying to think
I mean, I can comment on that.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Trust me,
Yeah, you
trust me.
can.
Yeah. There's only so many questions. So basically, I would definitely say that yeah, we do have a lot of work to do in our communities. Um, I think the one thing that we could do, it does start with education, but say with like things like social media, right? It brings us together because we see that we're all trying, like we're all like fighting for like a common goal. But I think the one thing that is missing is that we are solely tied on our identity and not our values. I think that identity is great because it makes us feel like, like, hey, we're part of a group now. This is great. We should be happy, and we
Mhm.
absolutely should. But in a room full of Black people or Black business owners, as you create conversation, eventually your differences will shine. And then it is from that we have to overcome our differences by our moral values. And I think that is something that many Black businesses should be doing, is organizing in an assembly, whether via like Zoom or on panels or in person, being safe, so that, we can show that, hey, you know what? Even though like we operate business differently, we have different personalities,
Yes.
we all, you know what, we should collectivize, because it's for the betterment of our communities and our success as people. And I think social media has done a great job with that, with, when it's Instagram, whether it's, like talking to other people, via like Zoom or things like that. I think it is a great step in the right direction, and I really do like it. I think more conversation needs to come out about it.
Okay. So, in this podcast today, we introduced Melanin Commerce, and also we talked about the supporting of Black businesses and the unity and collaboration that's needed in the 21st century going forward. And Brandon, is there any other thing that you can leave the audience with regarding Melanin Commerce? Because this is the first time that it's been introduced on my platform in particular. And I know that there's probably so much more that can be said about it, but do you feel like there's any last minute thoughts that you have as far as what the world should know about melanin commerce?
Yes. M- I'll leave you with this. Melanin commerce is much more than a business. It's a universal idea that has um, global intent.
Okay.
We plan to help our communities, not specifically just by listing off Black businesses, but to
Okay.
empower Black businesses through the idea of a collective mindset, and to draw in our consumer base by understanding the strength in circulating money throughout communities and giving
Hmm.
back to our communities. So that not only do you just benefit Black businesses, you benefit where you live, you benefit the betterment of your children. It's a idea that we are going to have to fight tooth and nail over the next few years, and I am well prepared for that. I argue with people every day, but
Yeah.
regardless, it is a fight that is worth fighting. And I encourage any of you, anyone that who is listening, to reach out to us. I'm sure, Hannah will drop the contact details in whatever this is published in. But basically, it is something that should be looked into. Keep an open mind and understand that it is not just support of Black businesses that matters, it's the support of our community, and it starts with supporting Black businesses.
Okay. That was wonderful. And today our guest was Brandon. He was representing Melanin Commerce. And I enjoyed bringing this podcast to you all. I know you all were looking forward to more content because it has been a while for me. But today was a great podcast. I was
Absolutely.
excited and looking forward to it. And like I said, I never like this is great for me and my platform discussing Black businesses on the
Yeah.
platform. Yeah, and I had the wonderful guest, the right person for it. So thank you, Brandon, so much.
No problem at all. Thank you so much, Hannah, for having me.
You're welcome. Okay. So this is the end of today's podcast. I hope that you enjoyed it. And please make sure you subscribe to the MR podcast. And we're everywhere. You can find us everywhere. So thank you for listening today.